Creepypasta re-narration the full movie.
Haha. It was me, Matthew. I was the Creepypasta content captain this whole time. I never meant to lose all of the lieutenants who had to evacuate to the TrollPasta universe. Anyways, let's get this movie started, starting with the creepypasta called Monsters Incorporated Lost DVD Bootleg. Before a blood-red door appeared. Sir, that's not her door," Mike stated. Waternoose said his usual lines and walked towards the door, revealing it to be hell. Next creepypasta, Incredibles 2 alternate ending. And I was glad that the store had a 30-day return policy. After that, we took the subway home. After we got home, my mother ordered some KFC chicken and we ate before me and my friend Robbie went to the living room to see the movie. After we were done eating, we went to the living room to watch the movie. I pulled out my PS5, turned it on and inserted the DVD into the disk drive. It showed the short Disney logo at the beginning, but for some reason after the logo, it didn't show the Disney Fast Play menu, which was weird. Every Disney DVD should come equipped with Disney's Fast Play. Despite that, it showed trailers for Toy Story 4, Frozen 2, and Disney Channel's new show called Amphibia. By the way, me and my friend were also fans of Amphibia and we absolutely love the show. After the trailers, it took us to the menu. I pressed play and it showed the FBI warnings, and the Incredibles variant Disney and Pixar logos. After about 15 minutes into the movie, we get to the interrogation scene where the Incredibles are being interrogated for causing damage to the entire city because of the Underminer. However, the next part gets weird. After Rick Dicker leaves the interrogation room, the movie cuts to a black screen for 12 seconds and then fades into the next scene where the Incredibles are in a courtroom where they are being charged for millions of dollars in property damages and are being sentenced to 15 years in prison. Me and my friend were in shock to see that the Incredibles are going to prison, and I told my friend, "This doesn't feel right. It looks like we got the one with an alternate ending." And my friend Robbie replied,
"Oh yeah, by the way, the movie has an alternate ending scene. So if someone wants to buy it, please warn them that it has an alternate ending scene. And they might get shivers down their spine from the ending."
After the employee told us how the movie had an alternate ending scene, she gave us our $7.99 Canadian dollars back, and she also told us that she would be reporting the DVD to the police tomorrow. After we got out of the pawn shop, we came back to my mother's car where she was waiting for us. And my mom told me,
Zerd pointed to the empty hole where he elevated up to the battle area. The mismatched forearms popped up out of it, covered in blood. "No, no, you can't do this," Woody exclaimed in horror.
"Peter, you gotta hurry. The portal will close in T-1 hour and 15 minutes. Portal will close in T-minus 45 minutes at the absolute most. This might be our last chance to evacuate, so let's take some time to reflect on all of the narrating story moments and memories, and then we'll get back to HQ, get our emergency supplies ready and evacuate this universe." Alright. Our emergency supplies are ready and we're now at the portal entrance. Unfortunately for us, this portal won't be open for long, as it might close in 30 minutes. So, ready now. Everyone on me. Here. We. Go. This is gonna be fun. Bye bye Creepypasta universe, hello Trollpasta universe.
Today on the first TrollPasta narration.
Where are we?
Well, Matthew, it looks like we're in the
TrollPasta
universe.
Oh boy. Newcomers, eh?
Yep. We came from our own Creepypasta universe, which is no longer exist now. This is our new home now. Come on troops, let's get to our new home quarters and stay there. Our new lives have begun.
Their own Creepypasta universe exploded? Wow, that's a coincidence cliché. There you have it folks, their own Creepypasta universe has exploded cliché. Ahem. Now then. It has been decided. The future of creepypastas will not only be just creepypastas, but will also have trollpastas as well. So let's get this party started. Ahem. My name is Daniel, and I will be the new creepypasta trollpasta narrator since Paul and the other creepypasta lieutenants have retired from their posts, so here we go. Does anyone remember the 2004 movie Shark Tale? It was a good classic DreamWorks movie that ever I watched since 2005. I really enjoyed watching other DreamWorks movies from the 2000s such as Shrek, Madagascar, Over the Hedge, and even B-Movie. There are some other movies I really enjoyed watching in the 2010s too. They are How to Train Your Dragon, Turbo, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, Home, Trolls, and The Boss Baby 2. These were one of my favorite all-time DreamWorks movies of all the decades. Here are some things that went bad to worse. It was just a beautiful sunny day at my house, and I was just getting ready to log on to my computer. Once I went on the desktop, I got a notification from DreamWorks Animation. It says that there was an alternate ending for Shark Tale that was never made it to the movie. I clicked on the download button and it went to the files. One was a notepad, and one was a MP4 file. I decided to click on the MP4 file so I can watch the scene in the first place. Before the video started, there was a warning screen. This is an alternate ending to the 2004 film Shark Tale. This ending was never made it to the final draft of the movie, and must not be viewed by minors as it contains some graphic violence. Viewer discretion is advised. I was very concerned about what was going to happen in the first place. The video begins. It shows Don Lino telling that Oscar he took Frankie away, which was a result of an anchor falling on him and killing him instantly, and later turned Lenny into a disguised dolphin. At that moment, Don started to chase Oscar, and he was going to eat him for punishment. Lenny luckily began to open the door to let Oscar to be outside of the shrunken ship, and be free of his own. You're gonna regret the day that you become the Shark Slayer. Don Lino shouted as Oscar tries to get away from him. Then suddenly, the shrimps from the dinner scene begin to prevent Don from getting Oscar. One of the shrimps started to bite Don Lino's face and Oscar smiled and later swam away from Don as he was being attacked by the shrimps. The jellyfish brothers Ernie and Bernie were on the phone until they heard screaming from Oscar who was being chased by Don Lino and even didn't notice. At the moment, Don Lino was chasing Oscar, and they were both swimming through the whales as Oscar telling one of the whales to get him out of the way as he needed some space. Ernie and Bernie started to scream and swim away as they see Don Lino, along with the other whales and the workers that were at the whale wash. Lenny, along with Angie and Mr. Sykes rushed towards the whale wash, and Oscar pushed one of the buttons. He accidentally pushed the bubbles machine button resulting his girlfriend Angie being stuck inside the bubble, and Lenny was trying to stop his father from killing his best friend Oscar himself. At this horrific moment, Oscar accidentally got Lenny stuck in one of the machines as shouted "Alright Lino. Game's over." As he began to catch up with Don Lino, he noticed that Angie was inside of the bubble and looked at Lenny and said, "Lenny, what are you doing in there?" Sorry, Lenny apologized to Oscar. As Oscar tries to tell Lenny about Don Lino, he was behind Oscar and said in a most disturbing tone, "You're mine now." Oscar looked at Don, and he screams loudly. Oscar tries to get away from Don Lino, but it was already too late. As Don Lino begins to eat Oscar instantly, Oscar began to let out a blood-curdling scream. The scream was very loud that I had to cover my ears. At this most disturbing moment, Lenny was shocked, and Angie too. As Don Lino was chewing Oscar with his teeth, there was clouds of blood dripping out of his mouth, and yet it is possible to bleed underwater. As Oscar slowly died in Don Lino's mouth, Lenny came towards Don and shouted, "What have you done to my friend?" Don then said, "Listen son. He was lying because of you," and she was scared that she saw Oscar being eaten in front of her. A few moments later, a group of police dolphins arrive at the scene, and they noticed blood on Don Lino's mouth. One of them said, "You are under arrest for murder," as the dolphin arrested Don Lino. Lenny was crying about his best friend being killed by his own father. After the scene ended, it cut to the news scene with Katie Current talking about the death of Oscar. This is Katie Current reporting from Reef City. "We just received a report that Oscar was killed by a shark named Don Lino here at the whale wash. Police are now investigating the scene as more story develops." After the news ended, it showed Don Lino with a group of police dolphins in court about the murder of Oscar. The judge Fish then said, "So you must be the murderer of Oscar, right?" Don Lino then said, "Yes, Your Honor." as Don Lino explained about the story about Frankie and Oscar, and he tells the judge fish that the anchor killed Frankie and Oscar said that he lied. The judge fish then angrily said, "You are guilty." The other characters looked at Don Lino with their angry faces, as Don Lino realized what he had done, and the police dolphins took Don Lino to prison, and was sentenced to 10 years. Right after the court scene, it showed the funeral of Oscar, the same way that they did to Frankie. Angie, Emma, Sykes, Crazy Joe, Bernie and Ernie, and Lenny were all in grief and crying about the death of their friend Oscar. Lola, however, realizes the error of her ways and starts feeling guilty by paying respects to Oscar, who was killed by Don Lino. All of the fishes were at the funeral were singing and performing "My Heart Will Go On." At the moment, Oscar was wrapped in tape, and later floated into the surface. Angie and Lenny, both in the grief, looked at the dead body of Oscar as he was floating up into the water surface, and after the song was over, the singer fish then said, "Oscar, we'll miss you." The other fishes waved their glass of wines in the air for the honor of their friend Oscar, who was tragically killed by Don Lino himself. Right after the video ended, it showed a text saying, "In the loving memory of Oscar the Shark Slayer, I was angry, scared and crying at the same time as Oscar was killed by Don Lino. I had to write DreamWorks an email about this, and they said that someone snuck into their studio and made this scene for illegal unauthorized purposes. I had to delete the file off of my computer, and I couldn't sleep for the night. Because of this, I was having several nightmares about Don Lino chasing Oscar and eating him for punishment. If you ever try to find a deleted file off of your computer from any emails, don't download it or even watch it by yourself. Guys, the new Creepypasta future has begun. It's time that we begin a new chapter of the Creepypasta content, a new era, which is that we will narrate Trollpastas. Hopefully this new change will be interesting.